Channel 1, Channel 2. Channel 1, Channel 2. Channel 1, Channel 2.
Coming up on Star City News, a local press conference calls attention to a controversial letter that Councilman Roy Christensen sent to Mayor Chris Beitler.
This project needs to move forward now.
Plus, a politically charged event on UNL's campus has new developments that involve state senators, Chancellor Green, and English professors.
And President Donald Trump's tax cut could have an effect on your family. Find out how much you'll need to pay.
All that and more right now.
Welcome to Star City News. I'm Jack Housengay.
And I'm Sydney Boyd. Mayor Chris Beitler held a press conference today to address Councilmember Roy Christensen's letter about the biogas initiative. The letter asked Beitler to reconsider his decision to award nearly $750,000 towards the fuel project. The city is planning to upgrade its wastewater technology. Beitler said that Christensen mischaracterized where the process is in his letter and that all research points to this project's success.
The engineering is clear, the economics is clear, and the benefits to the environment are clear. This project needs to move forward now.
Beitler said that his office owes it to the citizens of Lincoln to do their homework, and that in this case, they have. He named the project a huge win for the environment.
Sydney, there's controversy in Lincoln today following a public statement made by Nebraska state senators directed at UNL's President Hank Bounds and Chancellor Ronnie Green. The letter follows recent developments with the politically charged incident that took place between a UNL sophomore and two English professors in August.
Steve Erdman, Tom Brewer, and Steve Halloran accused the university of acting hostile towards conservative students. They also challenged the UNL administration's ability to conduct an honest investigation on the school's free speech and conduct policies.
They also questioned the legitimacy of UNL's English department and the school's transparency toward Republicans. Star City's Emmanuel Sanchez Mora and Emma Olson are live with more.
Turning Points USA's main goal is to protect students from liberal professors, and this is how the problem came to be.
A conservative nonprofit. Turning Point USA was involved in an incident 2 months ago with two staff members from the UNL English department. The problem started because of the organization's fame regarding their watch list of professors who advance a liberal agenda. Nebraska Senators Steve Erdman, Tom Brewer, and Steve Halloran wrote a letter to the Hastings paper criticizing UNL's English department. Questions like, does anyone teach English anymore at UNL, stand out in the document. Senators argue the department's website lacks language that represents traditional English education. They also argue university professors are hostile toward conservative students. In their own letters to the senators, Chancellor Ronnie Green and President Hank Bounds say the accusations are false. They also questioned the senators' intent of talking to the media before they called them. Bounds replied with a very important question of his own, asking if what the senators did is to look out for the best interest of people or their own personal agenda.
And now we're going to my colleague Emma Olson, who has the reactions from campus in the Capitol. Emma, what are those reactions?
Well, overall, the administration feels like they're pushing back against what's an attack from the senators. I spent the day talking to administration, faculty, students, and other senators to get their reaction.
Chancellor Ronnie Green sent his response to Senators Erdman, Brewer, and Halloran on Tuesday. Green said, quote, to recklessly and falsely accuse the university as a whole of hostility toward a particular view appears to be an attempt to further political agendas. However, when I asked Senator Erdman about the opposition to his article, he had this to say.
Everybody has their own opinion. I don't have anything to say to those people who disagree with me. They have their own opinions, and we form those all the time, and you and I both have opinions, and if they're different than mine, yours is different than mine, so be it.
In a response letter, President Hank Bounds agreed with Chancellor Green and called the senators to work with the university towards unity. Professor John Bender, a member of the American Association of University Professors, said that every instructor, student, and faculty member has an opinion.
In the context of the classroom in particular, everybody understands that while we may have opinions, our job is not to indoctrinate, it is to educate.
So I headed to the English department. We weren't able to speak with faculty, but students shared what they are learning in their classes.
I do think it's false. Since I'm an English major, I take a lot of English classes, and we definitely learn about English, but I think English is a major that like branches off into other ones.
I believe they are. Yeah, they and even beyond that, they're teaching rhetoric, they're teaching poetry. You know, the meaty forms of English. You know.
Students told me that they might learn about controversial topics, but have never felt uncomfortable.
You can always tell that there's a bias there, but I think that's just with everybody in general. Overall, they're mostly pretty impartial, I would say.
No, I don't think so. I don't see like a lot of bias in like the classes I take and like the professor's views. And usually, if we are talking about like politics, the professor like lets us know that like everyone's opinions are valid.
Senator Adam Moorfeld agrees with the university's position.
I think that Senator Erdman is using this for political gain. I think that he knows that his statements aren't 100% supported by facts in many cases. And I wish he would take a moment and stop trying to politicize an incident that was handled by the university promptly and swiftly.
President Bound's office says his door is always open if they want to speak with him directly.
Well, I would think that we need answers to those 5 questions, which we haven't gotten yet. And so we'll ask those again and see if we can get answers to them.
Now, Erdman says he's waiting on a response, but according to these letters from Bounds and Green, the university has responded. All 3 of the senators are within their first term. Reporting live from the Capitol, I'm Emma Olson. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, thank you, Emma and Emmanuel. The Lincoln Police Department announced today that a second officer has resigned in the midst of a sexual assault investigation involving a Lincoln police officer. Police Chief Jay Blaymeister said the officer, whose name has not been released, had been on unpaid investigation leave since October 27th. The Nebraska State Patrol has launched a criminal investigation into the incident.
The Gordman's bankruptcy is over with a final plan of liquidation. According to the final liquidation documents, unsecured creditors will be between 5 cents and 11 cents on the dollar.
The widow of a Lincoln cyclist killed by a suspected drunk driver is now suing the man accused of the accident. Christine Gibson filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Zygmunt Spica, accusing him of negligence and driving under the influence at an excessive speed. If convicted, the 66-year-old Spica would face up to 20 years in prison.
The Nebraska Court of Appeals has upheld a lower court's denial of post-conviction relief for a man serving a 20-year prison sentence for drunkenly running down and killing a Nebraska high school volleyball coach in 2007. Herschel Huff has sought post-conviction relief, saying his trial lawyer was so ineffective that it violated his right to a fair trial. The Furnace County Court dismissed his motion, and he appealed.
A Nebraska judge has ordered a man who killed 6 members of a Sutherland family more than 40 years ago to remain in state care. Lincoln County District Judge Donald Rowlands ruled Wednesday that 72-year-old Erwin Charles Simons is still mentally ill despite a diagnosis made by the state psychiatric hospital. Simons, who was convicted on 6 counts of first-degree murder in 1976, will spend at least another year in a mental hospital.
Coming up next, we see what the forecast looks like for the upcoming weekend.
Plus, we take a look at a special project happening at the Lincoln Quilt Museum. You're watching Star City News.
You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln. Welcome to the Lincoln Children's Museum, where the possibilities are endless. The museum offers kids a chance to develop their creativity and turn it into something special. So come on down and be active, be creative, be goofy, and much more. Discover the Lincoln Children's Museum, quick, before they grow up.
At the University of Nebraska College of Journalism and Mass Communications, you can start here and go anywhere. Our programs are designed for doers, life seekers. You'll get hands-on experience from day one in front of or behind a camera with a major in broadcasting. Or maybe you'd like a career in radio, calling sporting events for KRNU, or design a major advertising campaign. To begin your future, go to journalism.unl.edu.
Welcome to the University of Nebraska State Museum. Explore the history of life. Immerse yourself in the full dome, state-of-the-art planetarium experience. See spectacular fossil discoveries and walk alongside ancient sea giants in our Mesozoic era. Take a journey through time and explore the world before we knew it. The University of Nebraska State Museum.
Picture yourself in a masterpiece building, surrounded by the work of great American masters. It's here. Sheldon Museum of Art at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Nebraska's national treasure.
You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln.
The Lincoln Quilt Museum is remembering local woman Olive Cunningham, who died of Alzheimer's in November 2015. With the help of her sister Judy, Olive spent the last years of her life stitching more than a dozen quilts, which are now on display. The museum teamed up with the Alzheimer's Association to create the exhibit honoring Olive's work and to bring awareness to those with the disease.
The executive director of the Nebraska State Fair says he'll be retiring at the end of the year. Joseph McDermott, who joined the staff in the late 1980s, has directed the fair since 2009. The board announced that McDermott will still serve as a board consultant in 2018. Nebraska law enforcement officers are looking to raise money for a memorial honoring the service dogs and horses that helped them fight crime. Organizers said in an announcement yesterday that work on the memorial is expected to begin in 18 to 24 months in Grand Island. According to plans, the memorial will have a concrete patio, benches, and a pillar on which images of a dog and horse will be etched.
Buffalo Wings and Rings opened a new location. The restaurant is located near 68th and O Streets. One of the owners, Michael Barton, said that it's taken 2 years to get to a new location and that the community around them is a great one to be a part of.
Sydney, Tuesday was the first snowfall of the year, but temperatures look to be rising in the capital city.
Here's Star City's Camille Hoover with more.
Currently here in Lincoln, it is 53 degrees under sunny skies, winds out of the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Although these conditions are quite warm right now, if we look to the winter outlook, we can see that the temperature is potentially going to be slightly warmer than normal this winter. However, these average temperatures are still below freezing. And with below freezing temperatures does come frozen precipitation. If we look at this outlook, we can see that Lincoln is right in the equal chances zone for precipitation this winter. However, Lincoln's average snowfall total is 25 inches. If we do look to last winter, however, Lincoln received 5 inches. So if we were to experience that 25 inches, that would be more than 5 times the amount of snow we did receive last winter. Looking to the almanac, we can see that today's low of 40 degrees is slightly above our average of 34 degrees, and our high of 51 is slightly below the average of 58 degrees. Still, temperatures are quite seasonable for the start of November. Tonight, we look to clear skies right at freezing 32 degrees and calmer winds out of the east at 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow, once again, partly sunny skies, temperatures much like today in the low 50s, 51 degrees, with calm winds out of the east, 10 miles per hour. If we look to the game day forecast on Saturday as the Huskers prepare to take on Northwestern, kickoff at 2:30 will be 60 degrees and partly sunny. For you early tailgaters starting off at 9 a.m., clouds will be present, but they should part as soon as kickoff approaches, and then temperatures will remain quite warm through post-game festivities. If we look to the 7-day outlook, don't forget following the Husker game to turn your clock back 1 hour as we do gain that hour of sleep. And looking to Sunday, temperatures are quite pleasant, remain at 56 degrees. And then through the start of the work week, during the day, it will be nice and pleasant. But looking to the evening, there are a chance of rain and snow showers as temperatures do fall in the mid-40s. That's all for us here at the weather. back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Camille. Coming up after the break, we take a look at the latest in President Donald Trump's tax plan.
Plus, a look at how the University of Nebraska-Lincoln is doing extensive research on the effects of concussions. We'll be right back.
You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln.
Out with the old, in with the new. The University of Nebraska-Lincoln's College of Journalism and Mass Communications is ready for the future with its brand new renovation. This renovation was completed with you in mind, so you can create, so you can innovate. Change how you view the world, how you capture the world. Start here. Go anywhere.
Welcome to the Lincoln Children's Museum, where the possibilities are endless. The museum offers kids a chance to develop their creativity and turn it into something special. So come on down and be active, be creative, be goofy, and much more. Discover the Lincoln Children's Museum. Quick, before they grow up. You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln.
Republican lawmakers unveiled the most sweeping rewrite of the tax code in decades today, outlining a $1.5 trillion plan to cut taxes for corporations.
With this plan, the typical family of four will save $1,182 a year on their taxes. For many families, having an additional $1,182 more will make a real difference.
As you can see, the current tax rate for middle-class families making less than $90,000 a year is 12%, opposed to its previous 10 to 15%, while the tax rate for families making less than $260,000 will only be 25%. The House plan is far from final and is expected to ignite a legislative fight.
The White House announced Tuesday that President Donald Trump will not be visiting the DMZ. A senior administration officer said the White House had to pick between a visit to the border between North and South Korea or to Camp Humphreys, a joint U.S. and South Korean military base. Trump is set to make his extended visit to Asia next month.
North Korea is working on an advanced version of its existing ballistic missile that could potentially reach the United States. This newly assessed ICBM is just one part of an accelerated effort by Kim Jong-un's regime to improve its nuclear weapon capabilities. U.S. officials are now reevaluating North Korea's threat.
A 36-year-old man renting an Airbnb in Australia was murdered last week by his three hosts. Ramis Jonesi had been staying in the house for less than a week before he was allegedly murdered. Airbnb issued a statement condemning the incident, saying the reported attack, quote, violates everything our global community stands for, end quote.
Court records show the suspect linked to Tuesday's deadly terrorist attack in New York City has Nebraska ties. The suspect, Sayfullo Saipov, was named in 4 Nebraska traffic complaints, including 2 in 2011, 1 in 2014, and a 4th earlier this year. All 4 cases involved guilty findings with fines paid.
Scientists from UNL's Center for Brain Biology and Behavior are making new discoveries on the effects of concussions. Dennis Mulfease, one of the center's researchers, says effects from concussions can linger much longer among those with a history of head injuries. Mulfease added that concussions should be treated as brain damage by coaches, parents, and doctors moving forward.
Coming up next, Star City's Stephen Smith breaks down the weekend to come in the NFL.
Plus, a look at last night's thrilling Game 7. Stay tuned. You're watching Star City News.
Here's a ground ball right side, could do it. The Houston Astros are world champions for the first time.
You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln.
In 2012, the national percentage of adults reporting that they drank too much alcohol before driving was 1.9%. In that same year, Nebraska adults reported 3.4%, nearly twice as much as the national average. People know they shouldn't drive, yet they still do. People go out and plan on coming back home. But as we all know, everything doesn't always go as planned. Inform those around you about the risks of drunk driving.
Welcome to the Lincoln Children's Museum, where the possibilities are endless. The museum offers kids a chance to develop their creativity and turn it into something special. So come on down and be active, be creative, be goofy, and much more. Discover the Lincoln Children's Museum. Quick, before they grow up. You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln.
Welcome back to Star City News. I'm Stephen Smith with the latest in sports. It's official, the Houston Astros are World Series champions for the first time ever. After what had been a hotly contested series, the Astros walked into Dodger Stadium for Game 7 and dominated. By the end of the first inning, it was 2-0. By the end of the second, it was 5-0. The Dodgers wouldn't score until the bottom of the sixth. They would not score again. George Springer led the Astros effort with his 5th home run of the series, tying the record and earning himself the title of World Series MVP. This was certainly a World Series none will soon forget, especially Astros player Carlos Correa. After the game, the shortstop got down on one knee and proposed to his girlfriend, Daniela Rodriguez. She said yes, giving Correa, the Astros, and the city of Houston even more reason to celebrate. We're halfway through the NFL season, and Week 9 has a number of matchups to pay attention to. Tonight, the Bills look to keep a leg up in the AFC East in a matchup with the division rival Jets. Carson Wentz and the Eagles will be tested at home this week. They face the Broncos and a defense that is number 1 in rushing and number 3 in passing. The Chiefs travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys this week on Sunday afternoon. Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott will not play this week after his suspension was reinstated. And on Monday night, the Lions will look to bounce back from a tough Sunday night loss in an AFC North battle with the Packers. Papa John's calls themselves the official pizza sponsor of the NFL. Popular players such as Peyton Manning have appeared in a number of advertisements for the brand. The relationship between Papa John's and the NFL may be damaged by the recent national anthem protests. The CEO of Papa John's directly cited the demonstrations as the reason for declining sales. He said, quote, "The NFL has hurt us. Leadership starts at the top, and this is an example of poor leadership. This should have been nipped in the bud a year and a half ago." In response to a decline in viewership, Papa John's has pulled some advertising from regular NFL programming. On a positive note for the NFL, Cleveland Browns receiver Josh Gordon has been conditionally reinstated by the league. The last time Gordon was on a football field was in Week 16 of 2014. The receiver was suspended in 2015 for violating the substance abuse policy and voluntarily checked himself into a rehab facility after attempting to return in 2016. Gordon is allowed to attend meetings and participate in workouts, but is not eligible to return to the active roster until November 27th. The Olympic flame has arrived in South Korea, marking 100 days until the Winter Olympics begin. It's been 30 years since the Olympics have been held in South Korea, but after the lighting ceremony yesterday, the Olympic torch relay is now underway. The flame will be carried by 7,500 torchbearers more than 2,000 kilometers, where it will be placed at the Olympic Stadium in Pyeongchang. That's all for sports. Again, I'm Stephen Smith. Coming up next on Star City News, find out which Disney movie is getting a star-studded remake.
You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln. You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln.
Let the past die. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be.
This sneak peek was released during Game 7 last night. I'm Lee Marion with the latest in entertainment. Production for Star Wars The Last Jedi Awake released their second preview for the long-awaited thriller. December 15th, it hits theaters nationwide, which happens to be a Friday. You've seen it animated, but it's now coming to you in live action. The new Lion King cast was released and it's stacked. Donald Glover plays Simba, Queen Bee is Nala, and James Earl Jones plays Mufasa. Some other notables include Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele, John Oliver, and Seth Rogen. It does pain me to tell you this one, though. It releases in nearly 2 years, set for July 19th, 2019. From Bang Bang to the morgue, earlier this year, Snoop Dogg stirred up some controversy with this music video. On the cover of his newly released album, Snoop's looking at what appears to be a dead President Trump. Snoop's replica of Ice Cube's design has stirred up quite the controversy. I'll let you make your own decision on this one, but one thing's for sure, the DOGG doesn't mess around. Something harder than Calc 3? Yeah, that's keeping up with this relationship. Seems like Justin Bieber is stepping back into things with Selena Gomez. After Selena was officially done with The Weeknd, it seems the Biebs is rekindling their relationship. The two, who had a thing back in 2014, were seen pedaling around town, and Selena stopped by to watch Justin play some hockey. Now into this weekend's movie releases. Here are our top 3 to keep your eye out for. Chris Hemsworth, in the lead role of Thor, fights for his freedom after he's in prison, put through a gladiator pit, and countless fights. Thor defends his home world against Ragnarok. Our next one, Most Beautiful Island, is a heartfelt story of women searching for a meaning in New York. These women start with nothing, put their life on the line, and fight for their freedoms. The last on the list is Lady Bird, a story of a family in the early 2000s trying to work through a struggling economy and a mother-daughter relationship that has seen better days. I'm Lee Marion with the latest in entertainment. You know, I did see the Lion King live production a few years ago. You know, Jack and Sydney, this was a classic. Which other stand out for you?
All right, thank you, Lee. Yeah, good question. If we're talking Disney movies, you know what I think would be a good live-action film? I think the remake of Pocahontas would be fun to see. How about you?
Interesting. I do love the Disney princess movies.
Well, we know there are plenty of princess movies, but whatever one they decide to remake, I know it will have people talking on social media. And speaking of social media, here's Star City's Karina Hernandez with what's buzzing on Facebook and Twitter.
Thanks, guys. I got the latest in social media. Put down your razors because it's No Shave November. Snapchat users are sporting the beginning stages of their beards. Not only will not shaving save you time this month, but it's all for a good cause, growing cancer awareness and raising funds. Today's Google Doodle celebrates the Mexican holiday El Día de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead. The day is not meant to be spooky, and no, it is not another Halloween. Snapchatters didn't miss a moment while remembering their loved ones. Tyrese Gibson is once again blasting Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the ongoing feud about the Fast and Furious movies. Tyrese posted on...
I'm just playing. You better hide that big-ass forehead.
posted on Instagram with an ultimatum. If Dwayne is in the next film, there will be no Roman Pierce. The post comes after Gibson called out Johnson when the 9th movie of the action series was pushed back. This was in order to release a standalone film for Johnson's character. Now into some of Twitter's popular trends of the day. The hashtag happiest 5-word sentence is trending with tweets like, wanna go for a walk, eat chocolate without getting fat, and my favorite, you just got a raise. And that's all for social media today. I'm Karina Hernandez. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Karina. Sorry about to say your last name too, but everybody knows who you are. You're super popular. But now we have Camille Hoover with us. Camille, you talked about the outlook for winter. I was just getting used to the fall weather, but am I going to have to break out my coat sooner or later?
Yes, the winter outlook does indicate that temperatures will start to cool down, although it is possible that we
could have some slightly warmer than average temperatures in the future.
Well, I am going to the game on Saturday, so I hope it's not too cold. But that's all the time we have for you today. For Sydney, Camille, and everyone here at Star City, I'm Jack Halsegay. We'll see you next time.